Kind of got scammed last week on the phone. So I was driving out to Luigi's because Luigi's days just ended yesterday for the United Way. And while I was on the way there, I got a phone call and I'm like, I'll answer it. It looks like a normal 833 phone number, you know. So when I started talking to them, they already had known my address and they knew the last four of my card that they were actually calling from. So the call came up. It said Barclay Banking on the caller ID, which is my credit card. And the guy was talking to me. He's like, hey, you know, you have a fraudulent charge. We think it's a fraudulent charge. Did you order anything from eBay? I've never ordered anything from eBay. Had he said Amazon, I would have been like, oh, yeah, that was definitely me. But it was not. It was eBay. And the call got a little bit weirder because, then he said, do you know anyone under this name? And they're trying to order, two different purchases from eBay in California, San Diego. Do you know anybody in San Diego? And I'm like, no one. Don't know that name. Also, definitely not eBay. And then I was like, he told me the person's name that was supposedly trying to do the order. And at that point, I started to be like, this seems a little bit weird, Okay. At that point, I had already asked him, I was like, listen, I don't feel comfortable verifying this information because he said he had the last four of my card number, which he did. So he's like, I want you to verify the last eight for verification purposes to make sure that he's talking to me. Yeah. At that point, I'm like, well, that seems kind of weird. I was like, if you're calling me from the credit card, I don't think I should have to verify that information. A normal thing that you would say for one of these phone calls, right?
Right.
So he said, Google my phone number and you'll see that it's your bank calling and you have fraudulent charges. I'm trying to make sure the charges don't go through. So, of course, I'm still driving out to Clymer. And, of course, for safety reasons, I pulled over to Google the phone number. And I Googled it. And not only...
Galen is laughing.
He did it while he was driving.
Yeah, I did. I was in a time crunch and I had to get there.
Busted.
Yeah. So I Googled the phone number, though, and that's the weird part. They had two different websites that came up that looked exactly like my bank's website. They had their logo. It even answered things like not to do for security questions. Like it listed like what it would have normally looked like on my bank's website for their security page about, he said, this is the fraud department. Google it. You'll see that it's us. And of course I'm driving. So I looked very quickly. Once I left Luigi's, I looked at it again because I actually ended up hanging up on the guy. I did end up giving him my birth date and my social. But then he told me the other person's social that was trying to get my stuff in San Diego. And I'm like, well, that's weird. No one would ever tell me that. And you probably wouldn't have that anyways.
Yeah.
And at that point I hung up because he started to get pushy. I left Luigi's and I called back into my bank. Not only did they have two different websites listed, if you Googled that exact phone number, the third website was from the Better Business Bureau for Barclay Banking.
Okay.
And it had that phone. So the scam, they went so far as even creating a Better Business Bureau profile with a fake name and the logo from my bank. Yes.
Very elaborate.
And me, I always, everyone knows if you get a random text message that, your box is stuck in a holding facility or something, don't ever click text messages. So I did call back into my bank and they recommend, they said pretty much never call. If anyone's ever calling you, don't give them any information. Right. You can only trust by calling the phone number on the back of your card.
Okay.
So I just thought we would share that story because that's a really elaborate scheme. And to me, I always was like, I'm too young for that. I'd never get caught in a scam. But then Galen threw his back out and here we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That last part, I don't know how that plays into it all. But you did give them your social security number.
I did. Yeah.
So what are you doing now?
So now I'm going to sign up for LifeLock. So I did call back into my credit card after I left. They confirmed it wasn't them. I gave them the phone number and told them about the Google, told them what the conversation was like. They seemed like they took it pretty seriously. But I also asked if they happen to have anything in their rewards programs for LifeLock or some other kind of identity theft protection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sign up for that this week, which I think is kind of an important thing, especially if you know that you've gotten scammed before. Or, if you've gotten letters from banks and stuff like that where, hey, our data was breached, it's always a good idea to sign up for that. And I'm at the point of that in my life now.
If you have been targeted, odds are, especially if you've given up any bit of personal information, you're going to be targeted again. So, Galen, let's turn this around now and make this conversation pointed toward folks who are trying to protect their retirement savings, because what Clinton just said probably scared a whole bunch of people.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, what Clint didn't mention in the whole scenario is we actually did get a phone call from Barclays credit card about a week and a half before that where there was fraudulent charges on our real card. Okay. He had a new card issued to him, and this was after the reissue was done.
Yeah, my credit card was only 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
Okay. That they were calling about.
Very
too.
elaborate what they're doing. And in a securities aspect, whenever we have, managed accounts, it just came down to us as, personal Encompass More information. We will not do a transaction to release money without verbal confirmation right now. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of very elaborate scams coming out there where people have pictures of voided checks, account numbers where to deposit to. I mean, it's getting very crafty with technology because AI is probably able to generate what can be done to get money out of the account as well.
Well, that's the scary part for many folks is it's got people to where, and we actually had a report on this a while back, people are going back and embracing the old paper money because that's all they feel is trustworthy.
Yeah.
And so when that comes to our retirement accounts and everything, of course, we're not going to carry our retirement accounts around in our back pocket for the rest of our lives. And so we need to be absolutely certain of who we're dealing with. I think that's what basically is the very first step is know who you're dealing with and know them personally.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so when we're thinking about setting up retirement accounts, don't do it with people you don't know. And GCES, those guys.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody's randomly calling you and knows information about you, I mean, nobody's really going to reach out to you for, maybe if there's some kind of fraudulent charge, they'll reach out to you. But on a securities account or your investment account, your 401k, they're not going to reach out and ask you to verify information with them. You're usually the one that needs to call into them. And there's special circumstances, I'm sure, for every case. But just be very vigilant who you're giving your information to out there, because at the end of the day, it might not directly affect your retirement to get scammed. But if you're losing money, you're losing money. And that's money that could be appropriated somewhere else.
Sure, absolutely.
For the most part, we've never had any issues. Like, we've never had anyone get scammed out of their retirement money. It's more they get scammed out of their checking account or savings account or something like that. Mm-hmm. Securities and what we deal with, there's so many checks and balances on the way to get money out and in that it's almost impossible to scam someone that way unless you have someone behind them pulling the strings to get the money out for you. So for the most part, we've never dealt with that. It's a completely different thing that I'm talking about here. And I just spilled my drink too. I'm having a rough morning up in here.
You spilled. Do you want to handle that?
Yeah. No. Do we have a paper towel anywhere? It's not a lot, and it's clear. It's all good.
You're getting me in so much trouble.
Right.
You're killing me today. But okay. So we want to be absolutely certain about who we're dealing with. And to turn this again toward people who are now frightened, because they realize how sophisticated it is, and you're right, Galen. AI is going to make it even more difficult to deal with. We need to be certain that we're dealing with human beings who we know.
Yeah, I mean the process that we have set up, it is very checks and balance type of system. So I do like the way that we transact when we do transactions to give people money. It's faster, it's convenient. But it's just the verification process needs to be went through properly.
Yeah.
As far as the phone call and everything that I got, I really think the biggest, smartest thing I could have did was, instead of trying to save myself 3 minutes of calling into my credit card, was to immediately at the beginning hang up and call the number on the back of my card, because it was different. Mm-hmm. If the number had been the same, then they definitely would have gotten me for more information. But I think the easiest thing I could have did was hang up and call the number on the back of the card to make sure I am talking to someone from there.
Yeah, and you should have pulled off the road when you did that.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. That's another violation.
Yeah. Hey, my car basically drives itself now.
All right. So well, in the end, what we're telling folks is be sure who you're dealing with, number one. But at the same time, make sure that you are protecting everybody around you, and everybody knows what it is that you're supposed to be doing in those situations.
Yeah.
So,
be vigilant.
People who have parents who are elderly, or elderly parents who have kids who are a bit impetuous, and might act too quickly on something. Everybody needs to help everybody else protect one another.
Yeah. Don't click on links and don't answer phone calls.
Good plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Good plan. All right. So before Clint absolutely destroys the place, let's tell
At least
folks,
I didn't bring a turkey with me.
Let's tell folks he's done it before, folks. That's what he's telling me. So for folks who want to deal with GCES when they're talking retirement savings, what should they be doing?
Just give us a call, 724-915-0000 to schedule an appointment. You can also stop into our office at 1780 Philadelphia Street. You can't miss us. There's signs on both sides of the road where we're at. And there's someone there 9 to 5. We're booked about 3 weeks out, so definitely want to plan ahead. If you want an appointment, you should plan about 30 days ahead.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Good plan. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. AccuWeather says today sunny to partly cloudy, increasingly windy, and a high of 35 degrees. Down to 26, some late snow showers tonight. And then tomorrow, cloudy, windy, up to an inch of snow and a high temperature of 33. It's 18 degrees in downtown Indiana right now. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Boomer Sports.
This is Boomer Esiason with a Sports Minute, sponsored by TGL, presented by SoFi. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Jerry Jones decided to promote offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer as the Cowboys' 10th head coach. This provides consistency on offense for Dak Prescott for sure. More importantly, he won't outshine old Jer in the media spotlight. I'm Boomer Esiason.